So you're out shopping for a new car, and the salesperson shows you the queen seat. You know, the one, that super fancy passenger seat that slides all the way back with a leg rest. It feels like the absolute peak of luxury, right? But what if I told you that without one tiny bit of software, that amazing feature is actually a hidden finger cutter waiting to happen? Yeah, let's get into it.
Just let that sink in for a second. You're up front, focused on the road, and you hear a scream from the back. It happens that fast. And look, this isn't just some scary story to freak you out. It's a very real risk when you have these powerful electric motors that have no brain to tell them when to stop pushing.
And the force we're talking about here it's huge, 150 kilograms. To put that in perspective, that's like having a full-grown adult stand on whatever gets caught in that track. Without the right safety tech, that powerful, smooth-moving seat becomes a serious hazard.
So in this explainer, we're going to turn that fear into knowledge. We're going to look at the seat's sixth sense. We'll compare the good systems versus the bad ones, expose some industry secrets they don't want you to know, and then I'm going to give you a wild but super effective banana test you can actually do yourself. And we'll wrap it all up with a cheat sheet you can take right to the dealership. Okay, so how does a car seat actually protect you from that crushing force? It's not magic, not at all. It's a really brilliant piece of programming that acts like a sixth sense. Let's break down how your seat can feel something it can't even see.
The hero of our story is something called the anti-pinch algorithm. All it is a safety program running in the seat's little computer brain. Its only job is to sense when something's wrong, when the motor is suddenly working way too hard, and then, boom, it cuts the power or even reverses the seat. Think of it like a silent rescue mission running thousands of times every second.
So, how does it sense the world without any eyes? Well, it basically has three feelings. First, there's muscle sense. It feels a sudden spike in the electricity, like it can feel the motor's muscles straining. Second, it has a step count, so it notices if the seat suddenly slows down or just stops moving when it shouldn't. And third, a simple location check, to make sure it hasn't just, reached the end of the track.
This analogy is absolutely perfect. Imagine you're pushing a drawer shut in a dark room. You don't see the sock that's bunched up in the back, you feel the resistance, and you just instinctively stop pushing. The seat's algorithm does the exact same thing, just way faster. It feels, it doesn't see.
Right, but here's the thing. Not all of these systems are created equal, not even close. The difference between a basic, cheap algorithm and a smart one is huge, and it's one of those hidden details that really separates a mid-range car from a true luxury vehicle.
So on the left, you've got your dumb algorithm. It's just looking for one simple thing, like that spike in electricity, but it gets fooled all the time by a cold morning when the grease is thick or just a bit of dirt in the track. But on the right, the smart algorithm is way more sophisticated. It combines data from multiple sensors, it adapts to the temperature, and this is the really crucial part. It can actually tell the difference between a real emergency, like a finger, and a false alarm, like your thick winter coat getting in the way. And this table here breaks it all down perfectly. See, your basic economy cars, they often just use that current-only method. It works, kind of, but it can be slow and pretty unreliable. As you move up the ladder to premium and luxury cars, they start fusing that current data with speed and position sensors. That makes the whole system faster and a lot smarter, so you get fewer false alarms. And then at the very top, you've got actual pressure sensors that can react almost instantly.
And of course, all that smart tech comes at a price. A basic system, that might only add about 50 yuan to the cost of the seat. But an advanced fusion system can triple that cost, and a top-tier pressure-sensitive system can be 6 times as expensive, or even more. This is one of those invisible costs that adds up to a much safer, more reliable car.
All right, now that you know how it all works, let's arm you with some real insider knowledge. We are going to bust a few common myths that you might hear on the dealership floor. This is the kind of stuff the glossy brochures conveniently forget to mention.
Okay, this is probably the biggest assumption people make. You see a button that moves the seat, you just assume it's smart and safe. I mean, it just makes sense, doesn't it? An electric motor should have some kind of safety feature built in.
Dead wrong. And this number is honestly shocking. In about 60% of cars that cost less than 150,000 yuan, the electric seats have absolutely no anti-pinch safety. None. It's one of the first things they get rid of when they're trying to cut costs, because they know most buyers will never, ever think to ask about it.
So then the next logical thought is, okay, if the system is there, I want it to be as sensitive as possible. You want it to react to the lightest little touch, just to be absolutely sure it's safe. That makes sense.
But actually, no. A system that's too sensitive becomes what engineers call neurotic. It'll stop moving because a little piece of dirt is in the track or because your jacket is bunched up. It ends up driving you crazy. The hallmark of a truly great system isn't just sensitivity, it's intelligence. It's the ability to know what's a real threat versus what's just noise.
So how can you, the average car buyer, tell if a seat is smart or dumb? I mean, you can't exactly bring a bunch of engineering tools to the dealership. But you can bring a banana. Yes, you heard me right. Let's get to the ultimate, slightly weird, but incredibly effective test.
Here's how you do it. First, and this is super important, never, ever, ever use your own fingers for this. Seriously. Grab a banana. It's a great stand-in for, soft tissue. Place it on the metal track where the seat is going to slide over it. Then, just hit the button to move the seat right toward the banana and watch very closely.
Now, here is how you grade the results. An excellent system will stop and actually reverse the instant it touches the banana, leaving it perfectly unharmed. A passing grade, well, it stops after a little squeeze, maybe leaves a small dent. But if that seat just keeps pushing and crushes that banana into mush, that is a hard fail. You've just discovered that the seat has no safety brain whatsoever. It's a smoothie machine.
Okay, maybe you don't want to bring fruit into a car dealership. Fair enough. So let's boil everything we've learned down into a final, actionable cheat sheet. These are the 3 questions you can ask that will immediately expose whether the car maker actually took this safety feature seriously.
Here they are, your 3 anti-scam questions. First, does this seat have anti-pinch? And does it just stop, or does it also reverse? Reversing is way better. Second, get a little technical. What's the trigger force? The answer you're looking for is around 100 newtons. If they just stare at you blankly, that's a huge red flag. And finally, the killer question. Can I see the official test report for this feature? Just watch their reaction to that one. It'll tell you everything you need to know.
And that really brings it all home, doesn't it? This isn't just another bullet point on a feature list next to the heated steering wheel. That split-second decision the algorithm makes is a constant, silent guardian. Choosing a car with a smart anti-pinch system isn't really about luxury, it's about a fundamental respect for safety. It is a feature you pray you'll never need, but one you'll be profoundly grateful is there if you ever do.